is about to happen. Part of my mental health is watching comedies. I think comedy is super important to my mental health. Okay. I know, like, you're probably thinking, like, mental health, like, come on. Well, I was really depressed at one time in my life, and I was having, some really bad thoughts, but I found, that through comedy, I started to change. I started to think, well, if I can laugh, there's still hope left. There's still a lot left in my life. And so I kind of was looking for a way to self-medicate that wouldn't be harmful. I turned to TV, and actually it was Green Acres at first. I first discovered like old TV shows like Green Acres, and it just made me laugh, and so it made me realize that I was laughing, and the lighting here is terrible, but I was laughing, and that must mean that there was something to hold on to. Well, the Dick Van Dyke Show, like, saved my life. It really did, because I started writing, I started to really see that television was really just a lot of people. I mean, it's still television, it was still a television show, but I felt like it was more like me. Like, people behind television were people like me that were working, that were writing, that had lives, because, you know, I was a kid, so kind of just thought that comedians just did their thing, and, like, no one wrote jokes for them, or whatever. They were just that smart, all the time. Scrubs has become a show for me that's like therapy, medical stuff, real problems, but these people cope with it with humor. And like, there's an episode where Dr. Cox says,
"You think anybody else in that room's going back to work today?" And that is why we distance ourselves. That's why we make jokes. We don't do it because it's fun. We do it so we can get by. And sometimes because it's fun. But mostly it's the getting by thing.
I go to comedy clubs now that I live in a city that has a comedy club. I go to a comedy club pretty much once every week. But that's what I do. That's who I am. I've really made a lot of that my personality, because I use it as a therapy. Kudos to Bill Lawrence for creating basically my favorite show. Bill Lawrence, Carl Reiner, and Paul Henning for Green Acres. Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. So those are like the shows that I consider that kind of like saved me in a way. So thank you guys for writing great TV. I hope to write great TV someday. It's a long shot, but who knows? Oh, and I only really brought up like the old shows that I used to watch. I'm still watching new comedy. It's not just Carl Reiner and Bill Lawrence and Paul Henning or whatever. It's also the writers of the show Blackish. I love that show. But even more than I love that show, I also really love the Goldbergs, throwback to the 80s, A Jewish Family, Adam Goldberg. Love your work, man. And I also think, you know, Blackish has a good platform to really kind of have a way to really talk about race in a good way that will open the door for conversation and be respectful. Then I also watch Speechless, which is about a special needs kid and their family, and they're odd and just amazing and funny. And that's all I'm really watching right now. I mean, I watch late show with Stephen Colbert, I watch Conan. That's about it, though. I know there's so many other great people, but that's the only people that I think consistently bring the best to the table for me and my sense of humor. And so I always watch them, and sometimes I'll watch other things. I'm not saying I only watch them, but that's what I watch. So those are some of the new shows that I watch. I also watch a ton of like shows that I love on Netflix, like Parks and Rec and things like that. So, alright.